The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets in the sterile hush of the oncology ward at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan, casting a pallor over everything they touched. Noah knelt beside the bed, his fingers trembling as they traced the hollow of Alex's cheek, the skin their paper-thin and fever-warm. "I love you," he whispered, the words cracking like thunder in a too-quiet storm. "But if you go, take me with you." Alex's eyes, once the color of sunlit sage, flickered open for the last time, locking onto Noah's with a clarity that pierced like a blade. "Don't wait for ghosts, Noah," he rasped, his voice a gravelly echo of the man who'd once belted show tunes in their cramped Brooklyn walk-up. "Live, for both of us." And then, with a sigh that rattled the monitors into frantic alarm, Alex slipped away, leaving Noah adrift in a sea of beeps and the acrid scent of antiseptic, his world fracturing into shards of what-ifs. Noah didn't scream. He didn't collapse. He just sat there, the weight of 8 years of marriage compressing his chest until breathing felt like betrayal. The room spun slowly. The wilting lilies from their wedding anniversary 2 months ago, the dog-eared copy of the Great Gatsby Alex had clutched like a talisman, the four-stand now silent sentinel. Nurses filtered in like shadows, murmuring condolences that blurred into white noise. One of them, a young woman with a name tag reading Maria, squeezed his shoulder. "Take your time, Mr. Hale. We'll handle the rest." But time was the enemy now, a thief that had stolen Alex piece by piece. First the laughter lines around his eyes, then the easy stride that turned heads on the F train. Finally the promises whispered in the dark of their queen-sized bed. Noah rose on legs that felt borrowed, his 6 feet 1 inch frame folding into itself as he stumbled toward the door. The hallway stretched like an endless gray vein, pulsing with the muffled sobs of other families, the squeak of gurneys hauling away what remained of lives. He didn't notice the man at first. Not really. The stranger leaned against the opposite wall, arms crossed over a rumpled button-down, his face half-shadowed by the brim of a faded Yankees cap. Mid-40s, maybe, with salt and pepper stubble that spoke of too many late nights and not enough sleep. His eyes, storm-gray and unreadable, tracked Noah's every faltering step, a quiet intensity that cut through the fog of grief like a lighthouse beam in fog. Noah brushed past, shoulder clipping the vending machine with a dull thud. He needed air, coffee, anything to drown the echo of Alex's last breath. The elevator dinged open, and he stepped in, punching the lobby button with more force than necessary. As the doors began to slide shut, a hand shot out, strong, veined, stopping them cold. "Wait," the stranger said, his voice low and edged with something urgent, almost desperate. He slipped inside, the doors sealing them in that coffin of steel and silence. Noah shrank back, heart hammering. Up close, the man smelled faintly of rain-damp wool and black coffee, ordinary, grounding scents that clashed with the wild pulse in Noah's veins. "You don't know me," the stranger continued, not meeting Noah's eyes, staring instead at the floor numbers ticking down like a countdown to oblivion. "But I knew him, Alex." The name hit like a sucker punch. Noah's vision tunneled, fists clenching at his sides. "What the fuck did you just say?" His voice was a whip crack, laced with the raw edge of a man who just buried his soul. The elevator jolted to a stop at the lobby, doors parting on a rush of fluorescent chaos. Visitors milling, a barista calling orders from the cafe kiosk. The stranger finally looked up, his gaze steady, unflinching. "My name's Eli, and I can save him." Noah's laugh was bitter, a jagged thing that scraped his throat raw as he shoved past Eli into the lobby's indifferent bustle. "Save him? He's dead, you asshole. Dead." The word hung in the air like smoke, choking him. He didn't wait for a response. Didn't want one. His sneakers slapped against the linoleum as he beelined for the exit, the autumn chill slapping his face the moment he burst through the revolving doors onto Madison Avenue. New York didn't pause for heartbreak. Taxis honked their symphony of impatience. Pedestrians surged like salmon upstream, their faces blurred masks of purpose. Noah hailed a cab with a numb wave, sliding into the back seat as the driver. A grizzled guy with a Mets lanyard grunted, "Where to, buddy?" "Brooklyn, Cobble Hill, 47th and Court." The words tumbled out automatic, muscle memory from 1,000 rides home to the brownstone they'd bought with scraped-together savings and Alex's graphic design gigs. Noah leaned his forehead against the cool glass, watching the city smear by. The Flatiron Building's defiant triangle, the pulse of Union Square's street performers, the glittering vein of the Brooklyn Bridge arching like a promise unkept. Eli's words gnawed at him, absurd and insistent. I can save him. What kind of cruel joke was that? Some grief-stricken widower's hallucination? Or worse, a scam artist preying on the desperate, whispering miracles for a quick buck. Noah's phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from his sister, Lena, in Seattle. Heard from Maria. Flying in tomorrow. Love you. Hold on. He typed back a thumbs-up emoji, the lie of it burning his fingertips. The cab lurched to a stop outside their brownstone. The stoop lined with potted herbs Alex had insisted on. Basil for your pasta, Noah, because you're hopeless without me. Noah paid with a crumpled 20, tipping too much out of habit, and climbed the steps like they were Everest. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with the ghost of Alex's cologne. Sandalwood and citrus, now faded to memory. He collapsed onto the couch, the one they'd christened with spilled Merlot on their first anniversary, and let the tears come. They weren't pretty. Ugly, heaving sobs that shook his frame, leaving him curled fetal amid throw pillows embroidered with inside jokes. World's okayest husband. Snackcident survivor. Alex had been the light, the spark. Tall and lean with that mop of blonde curls. His laugh a contagion that turned strangers into friends at dive bars in the village. They'd met at a pride float in 17, Noah fresh out of his MFA at NYU, sketching caricatures for tourists while Alex DJ'd under the alias Sage Spin. One shared joint behind a porta-potty, and it was electric. Hands brushing, eyes locking, the world narrowing to the heat between them. Your trouble? Noah had murmured, and Alex grinned, all dimples and danger. The best kind. 8 years later, trouble had morphed into this. A king-sized bed too empty, a closet half full of flannel shirts Noah couldn't bear to touch. Alex's diagnosis had come like a freight train, stage 4 lymphoma, aggressive, the kind that laughed at chemo. They'd fought it with everything. Experimental trials at Sloan Kettering, holistic retreats in the Catskills, even a Hail Mary pilgrimage to a shaman in Sedona. But the cancer was a thief, relentless, stripping Alex down to bones and borrowed time. Noah's phone buzzed again. Not Lena this time, but an unknown number. This is Eli. From the hospital. We need to talk. Coffee? The Beanery on Atlantic? 8 a.m. tomorrow. Please. He stared at the screen, thumb hovering over delete. Block the bastard. Move on. But something in those gray eyes, that unflinching certainty, tugged at the frayed edges of his hope. What if? The question was a splinter embedding deep. Sleep came in fits, haunted by dreams of Alex whole and laughing, only to wake to the void. Dawn painted the skyline in bruised purples as Noah showered, the hot water doing nothing to wash away the ache. He dressed in jeans and a faded Ramones tee. Alex's favored on him and grabbed his keys. The Beanery was a hole-in-the-wall joint, all exposed brick and mismatched mugs. The kind of place where locals nursed hangovers and heartaches over pour-overs. Eli was already there, tucked in a corner booth, 2 steaming cups before him. He looked different in daylight. Sharper, the stubble more silver than salt, a faint scar hooking his left eyebrow like a question mark. Black, too Noah wrapped his hands around the mug, the heat grounding him. Start talking, and it better be good, because if this is some MLM cure-all pitch, it's not. Eli leaned forward, elbows on the scarred oak table, voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. I'm a researcher, ex-pharma, now independent. I've been working on a targeted immunotherapy, nanoparticles that reprogram T-cells to hunt lymphoma like a heat-seeking missile. It's not FDA, not even close. Phase 1 trials were scrapped last year due to funding cuts. But Alex, he was a match. Perfect genetic profile. Noah's pulse thundered in his ears. How do you even know that? You said you knew him. What the hell does that mean? Eli's jaw tightened, a flicker of something raw regret crossing his face. College, UPenn. We were friends. More than for a semester. Then life happened. I went med school, he dropped out for art. Lost touch until I saw his chart cross my desk 6 months ago. Anonymous donor flagged it, me. I reached out through back channels, but he ghosted. Said he didn't want pity. The pieces slotted in cruelly. Alex, ever the stoic, shielding Noah from this lifeline. Or was it shame? They'd had their fights. Alex's wandering eye at parties. A one-night slip in LA that Noah had forgiven because love wasn't ledger-keeping. But this, keeping a cure secret, felt like betrayal, fresh and stinging. You're lying? Noah spat, but his voice wavered. Why now? He's gone. Not if we act fast. Eli pulled a vial from his messenger bag. Small, iridescent, like a captured star. Cryopreservation. His tissue samples from the autopsy, they're viable for 48 hours. We could initiate ex vivo, then transplant. It's a long shot, 80% fail rate. But the 20, that's Alex breathing again. Noah's world tilted. Hope was a drug, seductive and terrifying. He thought of Alex's hand in his. The vows exchanged under a rainbow flag at City Hall. In sickness and in health. This was health knocking, disguised as a ghost from the past. What do you want in return? Because nothing was free. Not in this city of sharp deals and sharper dreams. Eli's eyes softened, holding Noah's with an intensity that bordered on ache. Nothing you can't give. Trust. Trust. The word tasted like ash on Noah's tongue as he stared at the vial, its contents swirling like forbidden knowledge. The beanery's chatter faded to a distant hum. Baristas calling orders. A couple arguing softly over bagels, leaving only the thunder of his heartbeat. Eli watched him, patient as a confessor, but Noah saw the cracks. The way his fingers drummed the table, betraying nerves, the faint tremor in his exhale. Trust you, Noah echoed, a hollow laugh escaping. A guy I met 5 minutes ago, claiming miracle juice from his ex's fridge? Yeah, that's rich. He shoved the mug away, coffee sloshing like his unraveling composure. Alex never mentioned you. Not once. If you were such hot shit, why'd he bail? Eli's face shadowed, the scar pulling taut. Because I was an arrogant prick back then. Buried in labs, chasing grants, forgot how to be human. He deserved better. When I found out about the cancer, through a mutual friend actually, I thought, redemption. But Alex shut me down. Said you two were solid. That I was stirring ghosts. Solid. The irony clawed deep. Their marriage hadn't been storybook. Nights when Alex's silences stretched like chasms. Mornings after fights where apologies came wrapped in takeout from Joe's Pizza. There was the trip to Fire Island last summer. Alex disappearing into the dunes with a group of twinks from the resort bar. Returning at dawn with sand in his hair and excuses on his lips. Just blowing off steam, babe. You're my anchor. Noah had swallowed it because anchors don't demand receipts. But now, with Eli's gray eyes mirroring his own quiet storm, doubt bloomed like ink in water. Show me proof, Noah demanded, voice stealing. Not words. Data. Now. Eli nodded, no hesitation, sliding his laptop across the table. Screens unlocked with a passcode tap. Spreadsheets of trial logs, PET scans fading tumors to ghosts, patient testimonies from underground forums, remission after 14 months. Side effects minimal, worth every scar. Names redacted, but the math didn't lie. Success stories, raw and ragged, from desperate souls who'd gambled on the edge of science. Noah scrolled, the glow illuminating his face in harsh blues. A video embedded. A man, mid-50s, gaunt but grinning, toasting the camera with a hospital Jell-O cup. Doc Voss here, he's the real deal. Gave me back my hikes in the Adirondacks. Eli Voss. It clicked, the byline on obscure journals Noah had skimmed during Alex's infusions. It's real, Eli said softly, as if reading the surrender in Noah's slump. But it's black market. Off-books lab in Jersey. We'd need to move fast, get the samples, run the protocol. Cost is 10 grand, cash. I fronted the vial. You cover logistics. 10 grand. Noah's savings were a joke. Freelance illustrator gigs barely covered the brownstone's mortgage, let alone experimental Hail Marys. I don't have that, he admitted, hating the vulnerability. Crowdfund? Sell the place. Eli's hand reached across, hesitating before covering Noah's warm, calloused from pipettes and scalpels. A touch that sent unwelcome sparks up Noah's arm. I've got contacts. A foundation for queer researchers under the radar. But we need your sign-off, as next of kin. The contact lingered, electric in its innocence, and Noah pulled back. Not from revulsion, but the traitorous flutter in his chest. It had been months since touch felt like solace, not obligation. Alex's illness had turned intimacy to ash. Gentle handjobs when energy allowed, kisses that tasted of regret. Now, Eli's gaze held no pity, only a shared wound. The quiet brotherhood of men who'd loved and lost in a world that still whispered fairy tale like a slur. Fine, Noah breathed, the word a leap off a cliff. But if this is bullshit, if you hurt him more, I won't. Eli's promise was fierce, eyes locking like vows. Meet me at the lab 6 p.m. I'll text coordinates. The rest of the day blurred. Calls to Lena, who hooped through tears. Do it no. Science is queer as hell anyway. Packing a go-bag with Alex's favorite flannel for luck. Pacing the brownstone until floorboards creaked protest. Dusk fell like a curtain as Noah crossed the Holland Tunnel. The Jersey Turnpike, a ribbon of sodium lights leading to a nondescript warehouse in Newark's industrial sprawl. Eli waited by a loading dock, floodlights haloing him like some rogue saint. Inside, the lab hummed with illicit life. Humming servers, whirring centrifuges, a team of 3, tattooed techs in lab coats, nodding greetings like co-conspirators. They wheeled in a cryocart from the hospital van, Alex's samples sealed in frost-rimed vials. Noah's stomach churned as Eli explained the process. Thaw, infuse nanoparticles, culture T-cells in bioreactors, then, if viable, rain-fuse via stem cell transplant. 24 hours to viability check, Eli said, gloved hands steady as he prepped the infusion. Then we pray. Noah watched from a folding chair, the sterile buzz lulling him into uneasy vigil. Eli worked with quiet grace, a far cry from the college ghost Alex had sketched once in a drunken doodle. Eli, brainiac with a broken heart. Hours ticked by, marked by coffee runs and stilted talk. Eli's divorce from a med school fling. Noah's orphaned upbringing in Philly row houses. You remind me of him, Eli admitted once, pipetting serum under a hood. The fire, the way you fight for what's yours. Dawn crept through grimy windows when the bioreactor chimed. Green light, cells multiplying like hope unchained. It's working, a tech whispered, high-fiving Eli. Noah's knees buckled, tears hot and unashamed. But as elation crested, his phone lit up. A voicemail from the hospital chaplain, voice grave. Mr. Hale, regarding Mr. Hale's remains. An irregularity in the autopsy. Please call back. Irregularity. The word slithered cold. Noah stepped outside for air, dialing with shaking fingers. The chaplain's update was clinical cruelty. Trace anomalies in Alex's tissue. Possible undeclared trial interference. It might complicate release. Authorities could get involved. Noah's blood iced. Eli, the ghost with a cure, and now this shadow of sabotage? He stormed back in, phone clutched like accusation. What did you do? Tamper with the body. Eli froze, vile midair. The team scattered, sensing storm. Noah, listen. No, you said trust. This. He thrust the phone forward. Voicemail playing tinny and damning. If you fucked this up. I saved it. Eli cut in, voice cracking. The hospital was cremating per Alex's wishes. I intercepted. Paid off the right people. It's not tampering. It's preservation. Betrayal twisted Noah's gut. Not just the lie, but the echo of Alex's secrets. Lovers hidden, cures concealed. You played God. With my husband. Eli stepped closer, too close, his breath mingling with Noah's rage. I'd play devil for a chance at this. For him. For you. The admission hung, raw and reckless, eyes pleading what words couldn't. Noah recoiled, the air thick with unspoken want. This wasn't grief's mercy. It was temptation's hook. And as the bioreactor hummed its fragile song, Noah wondered if salvation came laced with sin. The lab's hum turned accusatory, each beep a judgment as Noah paced the concrete floor, the weight of Eli's confession pressing like a storm front. For you. The words echoed, a siren's call amid the wreckage. He wanted to hate Eli, for the intrusion, the arrogance, the way his presence stirred embers Noah had long since smothered. But hate required energy, and grief had drained him dry, leaving only a hollow ache that Eli's touch had briefly, treacherously, filled. Get out, Noah muttered, not meeting those gray eyes. All of you, I need space. The team filed out without protest, murmurs trailing like smoke. Give him time, boss. Eli lingered, jacket slung over his arm, face etched with the quiet devastation of a man who'd bared his soul to a locked door. Noah! Out! The command cracked, final as a gavel. Eli nodded once, sharp, and vanished into the Jersey dawn, leaving Noah alone with the glowing bioreactor and ghosts that wouldn't stay buried. He sank onto a stool, head in hands, the flannel scent. Alex's, faint but fierce, rising like a lifeline. Memories flooded unbidden. Their wedding night, rain-lashed streets of the village, take-out tie on the fire escape as thunder rolled. Alex, shirtless and smirking, tracing tattoos on Noah's ribs. This one's for the dad who bailed? Screw him. You're my forever ink. Laughter then easy as breathing. Now, it twisted into questions. Had Alex known about Eli's breakthrough? Chosen death over confession? Or was it mercy, sparing Noah this limbo of half-lives? The phone buzzed. Lena, FaceTiming from Seattle, Tacoma. Her pixelated smile faltered at his expression. No? Talk to me. What's happening? He spilled it all. The stranger, the vial, the viability chime, the voicemail venom. Lena listened, her therapist poise cracking into sisterly fury. Fly out here. Now, let the pros handle it. Mount Sinai has ethics boards for this crap. No. Noah's voice steadied, surprising even him. Alex wanted to live, fought like hell. I can't. I won't quit on him now. She sighed, eyes soft. Then don't quit on you. This Eli guy, he's got history with Alex. That's a minefield, babe. Tread light. History. The word lodged like shrapnel. Noah ended the call, staring at the bioreactor's digital readout. Cell count, 87% optimal. Transplant viable in 12 hours. 12 hours to decide. Pull the plug on this mad science, or dive deeper into the rabbit hole with a man who looked at him like salvation's mirror. Eli returned at noon, bearing greasy bags from a halal cart, lamb over rice, extra white sauce, Alex's guilty pleasure. Truce? He offered, setting it down like an olive branch. No apology in his posture, just quiet resolve. Noah unwrapped his portion, the steam curling like fragile peace. Why me? Really? Not Alex, the ghost. Me. Eli sat, uninvited but unrepelled, spearing a falafel with plastic ferocity. Because you're the one still standing. Alex. He always ran toward light. You build fires in the dark. A beat, then softer. And yeah, maybe I saw you at the hospital weeks ago, watching him sleep, the way you held his hand, like it was the only tether to earth. It wrecked me. Wrecked. The vulnerability cracked something in Noah, a fissure letting light through grief's barricade. They ate in companionable silence, the lab's hum a third wheel, until Eli cleared his throat. The transplant, it's at a safe house upstate. Off-grid clinic, queer docs only. No paper trail. We leave at dusk. Noah nodded, fork pausing midair. One condition, full truth, about you and him. Eli's laugh was wry, self-deprecating. Fair. UPenn 09. We were lab partners in biochem, late nights, Red Bull, and bad decisions. He was out and loud. I was closeted Catholic guilt. Lasted 3 months. I proposed a ring after graduation. He laughed, said love wasn't a contract. Broke it off clean. Haven't spoken till the chart. No venom, just fact. Noah probed deeper. He ever mentioned me? Once. A postcard from your first date, Statue of Liberty at sunset. Found my spark. Don't wait up. Eli's smile ghosted, fond and faded. He was happy. That's what stuck. The drive upstate was a tense ballet. Noah at the wheel of Eli's battered Subaru. Radio tuned to WNYC's Indie Hour. Highways giving way to winding Taconic roads flanked by fiery maples. They talked in fits. Eli's failed marriage to a biochemist. She wanted kids. I wanted quiet. Noah's freelance droughts. Illustrating queer erotica pays shit, but damn if it doesn't feel like rebellion. Laughter crept in, tentative like sun after squall. The clinic nestled in a converted barn near Hudson. Beamed ceilings, herb gardens, a rainbow flag limp in the evening breeze. The docs, a collective of exiles from Big Pharma, prepped Alex's reconstructed T-cells with ritual efficiency. Infusions, monitors, a circle of hands joined in murmured intention. He's a fighter, The lead, a wiry woman named Jax with sleeve tattoos of DNA helices, assured. These cells? They're his army now. Sunset bled orange as they wheeled in the incubator. Alex's essence reduced to vials and hope. Noah held vigil in a rocker by the window, Eli across from him in a wingback, the space between them charged with unspoken gravity. Moonrise found them sharing a flask of bourbon, Jax's ritual relaxant, words loosening into confessions. I cheated once, Noah blurted, the liquor burning truth-free. LA conference 2 years back. Thought it was closure on my ex Alex forgave, but the guilt, it poisoned us. Eli's hand found his knee, steadying. Guilt's a liar. Alex knew you were human. Loved the mess. And you? Noah's voice dipped, eyes tracing Eli's lips. Ever forgive yourself? Not yet. Eli leaned in, breath mingling, the air thick with possibility. Their kiss was inevitable, slow, searching, tasting of salt and second chances. Noah pulled back first, guilt and want warring. Alex is fighting, Eli whispered, thumb brushing Noah's jaw. This? It's us living. Dawn brought the chime. Transplant success, cells engrafted. But as monitors stabilized, a seizure hit, complication, Jax barked, epinephrine flying. Chaos reigned. Paddles charging, Eli's hands blurring in 4 lines, Noah frozen in the corner, whispering fight, baby, fight. Alex stabilized, pale but pulsing, the room exhaling collective relief. Jax clapped Noah's back. He's in. Remission odds, 60 now. But victory soured as Eli pulled Noah aside, face ashen. One catch, the anomaly, traced to me, feds sniffing old trial rivals jealous. If they connect dots. Betrayal's echo sharper now. You brought this to our door. To save him, Eli countered, voice breaking. I'd burn it all. Noah's heart fractured. Love for Alex. This fragile bloom with Eli. The human cost of miracles. As sirens wailed distant, heralding raid, he made his choice. Grab the gurney, bolt for the Subaru. Drive, he told Eli, buckling Alex in back. To the border. Canada. Anywhere. They fled into the rising sun, a makeshift family on the run. Husband reclaimed, stranger redeemed. Love's messy tapestry weaving onward. In the rear view, New York shrank, but hope, it roared eternal.